We often think of our relationships as add-ons to our daily lives and don't stop to think about how they affect our health and happiness. But what if I told you that the quality of your relationships could be the most important thing in your quest for a happy and fulfilling life? Stoicism is an ancient philosophy that teaches us not only how to be strong and at peace when bad things happen, but also how important it is to surround ourselves with people who respect and make our lives better. Stoicism isn't just about getting through hard times. It's also about figuring out what's best for our inner peace and moral growth. This video, we'll talk about 12 clear signs that it might be time to reevaluate some relationships, maybe even to the point of leaving them. It's not enough to just stay away from bad people. You have to actively choose a road that is in line with wisdom, justice, courage, and moderation. Please come with me as I share these ideas, making sure that each step we take leads not only to inner peace but also to a deeper understanding of what Stoicism says it means to live a good life. Whether you want to make your relationships better or get the strength to make tough choices, this conversation will give you the tools and ideas you need to change how you interact with other people. Let's start this journey together to learn how to cut ties with grace and keep our peace of mind, which is the most valuable thing we have. Please don't skip any parts of the video to make sure you get the most out of the conversation we're about to have. If you like what we're doing, the easiest and most valuable thing you can do for us is to hit the subscribe button. It is essential for any good relationship to have a consistent lack of respect. In the world of Stoicism, all other interactions are built on this one interaction. Respect is related to the virtue of justice, which says to treat others fairly and with respect. When we talk about the persistent lack of respect, we're talking about a major breach of both interpersonal ethics and Stoic principles. Imagine being treated without the basic courtesy you show others all the time. It would be like having your dignity chipped away piece by piece. This constant disrespect is not only unpleasant, but it also shows that the relationship is not in line with the Stoic goal of living a good life. For Stoics, every interaction is a chance to practice virtues like justice and wisdom, and when someone treats you badly over and over again, they are not only hurting your health, but they are also making it harder for you to live by these principles. When we experience this kind of disregard, whether it's through words, actions, or just plain carelessness, it's a clear sign that something important is missing. Stoicism teaches us not to react with anger or bitterness, which are normal but not helpful feelings. Instead, it teaches us to react with logic, judgment, and emotional distance. This means recognizing the lack of respect for what it is, a deviation from living a good life. It's not about blaming or getting angry. It's about understanding how other people's actions affect our path to living a good life and deciding calmly and logically whether those relationships should continue to play a significant role in our lives. Recognizing and dealing with a consistent lack of respect isn't just a reaction, it's a proactive action to protect one's mental peace and moral integrity. It's about making a choice that fits with Stoic values. It's not just self-defense to refuse to settle for less than you earn, and to walk away if you have to, in order to stay true to your values of living fairly and with respect. It's also a statement of your worth and dedication to the Stoic pursuit of virtue. Effects that are bad for mental health. The people around us can have a big effect on our mental health through many channels. Stoicism teaches us how important it is to keep our tranquility, which means being calm and undisturbed. This isn't about hiding our feelings, but about understanding and controlling them well, especially when they're caused by other people. If someone in your life makes you feel anxious, depressed, or stressed all the time, it's a clear sign that the relationship may be doing more harm than good. Stoicism doesn't just tell us to deal with hardships. It also tells us to create environments that are good for our health. For example, relationships that drain your emotional energy or make you feel down can make it harder to live a peaceful and meaningful life. The Stoics believe that our health depends on our inner state rather than our external circumstances, but they also say that we have the responsibility to protect our inner peace from things that could upset it. Seneca, one of the most famous Stoic philosophers, often wrote about how important it is to surround ourselves with positive people and stay away from negative people. Thinking about how a relationship affects your mental health is more than just figuring out how negative emotions affect you. It means taking action to make sure they don't control you. This could mean setting limits, or even separating yourself from people who constantly make you feel bad. By doing this, you're not just trying to avoid pain. You're choosing a path that is in line with Stoic virtues, trying to live a sensible, strong-willed, and most importantly, peaceful life. If a relationship regularly hurts your mental health, it's time to reevaluate and maybe change your social connections. This isn't a failure to endure. It's a deliberate choice to live a healthier, more peaceful life, which is the final goal of Stoic practice. Values not aligned. As we go through life's challenges, our core beliefs and values help us make decisions that are in line with who we are and what we stand for. When these core values consistently clash with those of someone close to us, it can cause big problems within ourselves. Stoicism puts a lot of value on peace and honesty, so these kinds of problems are not only annoying, they're a big problem. Stoics believe that peace of mind comes from living a good life according to sensible rules. If someone close to us lives by a set of values that are at odds with our own, it can be hard to keep the peace. For example, if honesty is one of your core values and someone close to you often lies, this can be a constant source of tension and discomfort. Over time, these disagreements can weaken the trust and mutual respect that are necessary for a healthy relationship. Stoicism goes even further and tells us to think about the people we hang out with and make sure they help us grow as people and as people. Marcus Aurelius wrote a lot about how important it is to surround yourself with people who have the virtues you want to have. If our core values don't match those of our friends and family, it can be hard to grow as Stoics because we may have to give up on our values or live in a constant state of ethical conflict. To fix these kinds of problems, you need to carefully look at the relationship. You may need to have open and honest talks with the other person about their values and see if you can come to an agreement or compromise. If the difference is too big, you may need to rethink the relationship's purpose in your life. This isn't about judging the other person as wrong, but about realizing that not every relationship is necessary for your personal and moral growth. Recognizing and dealing with misaligned values is important for both keeping the peace within ourselves and making sure that our relationships support our path to living a good and fulfilling life. This alignment is at the heart of the Stoic goal of peace and eventually happiness. Feeling constantly drained. In a healthy relationship, the exchange of energy should be energizing, not draining. If your interactions with someone leave you feeling consistently drained, it's a big sign that the dynamics of the relationship may not be in line with Stoicism's principles of self-preservation through rational and peaceful living. Stoicism teaches us how important it is to keep our inner strength and use it wisely. Stoic philosophers like Seneca and Marcus Aurelius stressed how important it is to be in relationships that are nurturing and two-way, rather than ones that drain our emotional or physical resources. According to Stoic principles, feeling drained after interacting with someone is not just a minor inconvenience. It's a profound drain on the very resources you need to live a good, productive life. Having a steady feeling of drained can show up in many ways, such as being emotionally worn out, dreading upcoming interactions, or even being physically tired. From these signs, it looks like the relationship is costing more than it's giving, which Stoics would say is not sustainable and not smart. Every relationship should make you feel better and help you become a better, more good person. When a relationship makes you feel bad, you should think about why it makes you feel bad. Is it because you don't support each other? Encounters that only affect one person or the other person's constant negativity or demands. Finding the cause is the first step in figuring out how to fix the problem, whether that means being honest about how you feel and making clearer boundaries, or if the relationship can't be fixed, you might want to consider ending the relationship to protect your peace and well-being. Managing these draining interactions isn't just about getting rid of bad things in your life. It's also about making room for better, more supportive, and meaningful relationships that align with Stoic ideals of mutual respect and personal growth. Each relationship should improve your life, not hurt it, so you can thrive and make a positive difference in the lives of those around you. Manipulation. In the world of Stoicism, the search for truth and clarity is above all. These values help us get along with our true selves and the world around us. But manipulation goes against these ideas in a big way. It changes reality so that it helps the manipulator but not the person being manipulated. This change can make you make bad decisions and keep you from living a Stoic moral life. People who try to control others in relationships often use sneaky psychological tricks that are hard to spot. These tricks can be as obvious as lying, or they can be more subtle, like guilt trips or gaslighting, where reality is twisted and your memories or views are called into question for Stoics. There is a big problem with this. Stoicism shows us how important it is to see things as they really are, without any bias of outside errors. When someone manipulates you, they force their will on you and stop you from making decisions based on what you really think. To deal with manipulation, you need to stick to Stoic rules, strict. Look for the truth, be honest, and keep your independence. Setting clear limits with the manipulator or being more aware of the signs of manipulative behavior could help. Instead of acting on impulse in response to manipulative tactics, it is important to reaffirm your beliefs and make a promise to do things that are in line with them. When you're dealing with influence, you should also use the Stoic practice of reflection to look at the relationship and how you're reacting to it. This practice can help you figure out if the relationship can be saved by being honest with each other and making a promise to change, or if it would be better to keep your distance and be silent. Sometimes, to keep your morals and peace of mind, you have to make tough but necessary choices. This is especially true when it comes to keeping yourself safe from bad forces. Freeing yourself from manipulative relationships isn't just about getting away from bad influences. It's also about realigning yourself with the Stoic goal of living a true and honest life. This realignment leads to clearer thinking, better decision-making, and a deeper sense of peace, all of which are important parts of the Stoic way of life. Failure to trust. In Stoicism, trust is not just a part of a relationship. It is the very thing that all relationships are built on. Trust goes hand in hand with the value of justice, which stresses being fair. Being honest and dependable are important for any deep and meaningful connection. Without trust, relationships are unstable and full of doubts and fears that stop people from being truly close and connected. Stoicism teaches us to be trustworthy and honest, not only because these are good traits, but also because they create an atmosphere where trust can grow. When trust is missing in a relationship, it's often because these Stoic values aren't being upheld, which can cause a chain reaction of bad feelings and actions. Openness is replaced by doubt. When fear takes over, people may not be able to move forward together because they are always on guard against being betrayed. To deal with the lack of trust, you have to go back to Stoic values and be honest with yourself. Are my actions adding to this lack of trust? Am I being as honest and trustworthy as I can be? Stoicism tells us to think about these things. If the problems with trust come from the other person, a Stoic might approach the situation with understanding and empathy, but with the firmness to set necessary boundaries. This could mean starting difficult conversations to find out what's causing the problems, or it could mean taking decisive action if those problems are found to be insurmountable. To keep your Stoic virtues and your own peace of mind, you may need to stay away from situations where trust can't be rebuilt. Trust is important for both the health and longevity of relationships, and for the practice of Stoicism, which values the peace of mind that comes from knowing you are in a safe and reliable relationship. If trust is missing, it's a clear sign that the relationship needs to be reevaluated, and maybe even changed to fit Stoic ideals. This process isn't just about making relationships with other people better. It's also about staying true to yourself and your beliefs. Abuse of any kind. Stoicism strongly opposes all kinds of abuse, whether they are physical, mental, or verbal. These actions go against the Stoic belief that all people are valuable and deserve respect. Stoics believe that abuse from any guy goes against the very idea of what it means to live a good life with meaning. Stoics believe that enduring abuse is never necessary. Instead, they stress the importance of protecting one's self-respect and health above all else. Marcus Aurelius said that it was important to keep one's inner citadel safe from outside harm and unfairness, including abuse. This inner fortress is a symbol of our strength to stick to our values and keep our mental peace. It is important to recognize and deal with all kinds of abuse, not just for your own safety, but also for your mental health and sense of self-worth. When Stoic principles are broken, the Stoic response is to clearly and immediately distance oneself from the cause of the abuse. This is not about getting back at the abuser or holding on to bad feelings. It's about making a smart choice to leave harmful situations that go against Stoic principles. Getting away from harm is similar to the Stoic practice of self-care, which is important for living a good life. It means taking responsibility for your health and making sure that your surroundings and relationships support your moral and philosophical goals. Taking steps to protect yourself and getting help if you need it is very important if you are facing any kind of abuse. Stoicism is more than just being able to handle hard times. Stoicism also teaches how to act wisely and bravely when you are being mistreated, always with the goal of protecting your own safety and well-being in mind. For example, you could reach out to trusted friends, family, or professionals who can help you take the steps you need to make sure you are safe and respected. Personal and moral growth are not only encouraged in Stoicism, they are central to the philosophy's teachings about living a good life. Stoics believe that life is a continuous opportunity for improvement and learning, stressing how important it is to support each other on our paths toward virtue and wisdom. When a relationship lacks growth or mutual support, it directly goes against these Stoic ideals, which could stop your personal development. Stoic thinkers like Epictetus and Seneca talked a lot about the idea of synergia, or working together, focusing on how relationships teach us morals and help us grow as people. A friendship should be a two-way street where both people push and help each other transform into better people. Supporting each other doesn't just mean cheering each other on during tough times. It also means helping each other grow through honest feedback, sharing experiences, and constant motivation to stay true to one's values. When you're in a relationship where you're not growing or being supported in your growth, it can feel like you're stuck in place while the world moves on. This can show up as dissatisfaction, a sense that your potential is being stifled, or a general feeling that things aren't as fulfilling as they could be. In Stoic practice, this kind of situation calls for reflection and action. You need to figure out what's causing the stagnation and deal with it directly. Dealing with the lack of growth and support might mean having open and honest conversations about your needs and expectations. It could also mean changing the goals of the relationship, or realizing that the relationship may not be helping your growth anymore. Stoicism says that being brave and logical at the same time is sometimes the best way to get out of relationships that aren't helping you live a good life. For Stoics, every relationship is a chance to practice virtues and help each other grow in wisdom and happiness. If a relationship isn't helping you reach your goal, it might not just be a neutral part of your life. It might actually be getting in the way of your progress. Recognizing and fixing the lack of growth and support isn't just about finding personal happiness. It's also about making sure your relationships are in line with your core values and working toward the Stoic ideal of a flourishing life. St. Ignatius of Loyola's thought says that relationships are important places to practice virtues like kindness, fairness, and reciprocity. A relationship is a two-way street, with giving and receiving. Persistently selfish behavior in a relationship goes against Stoic ethics, which stress the importance of mutual benefit and support. This imbalance not only hurts the relationship, but it also stops personal and moral growth, which are at the heart of Stoic philosophy. When one person consistently puts their own needs and wants ahead of those of the other, it throws off the balance that is needed for a healthy partnership. Stoicism teaches us that balance and self-control are virtues. In relationships, this means that both people should put the other person's happiness above their own. If someone is constantly selfish in a relationship, it can lead to anger and dissatisfaction. which can weaken the bonds of trust and affection over time. To stop persistently selfish behavior, people need to be honest with themselves and talk about it. Stoic practices would help people talk about their worries in a calm and clear way, focusing on how the behavior affected them instead of blaming others. It's about starting a conversation that aims to restore balance and promote a more giving spirit within the relationship. However, Stoicism also understands the value of self-respect and individual freedom if attempts to restore balance fail. Stoicism encourages people to be smart enough to know when they can't change a situation and when it might be best to stay away from relationships that aren't good for you. From a Stoic point of view, every contact is a chance to be good. A relationship tainted by persistent selfishness is not only a personal challenge but also a philosophical one. It gets in the way of living a good life characterized by mutual respect, support, and the ongoing growth of all individuals involved. Recognizing and dealing with these problems is not only about making sure oneself is happy, but also about living a moral and ethical life that benefits others. Bad for you, communication. The Stoic theory puts a lot of weight on being logical and wise, and this includes how you talk to other people. Communication in a relationship should not only be honest, but also helpful and positive. This is in line with the Stoic idea that our words should show what kind of person we are, and that what we say can either support and lift others up or put them down. Constantly using negative communication patterns like criticism, sarcasm, and putting others down can weaken the foundations of respect and understanding that make a relationship healthy. When people regularly talk badly to each other, it doesn't just hurt them right away. It can also change how people see each other, which over time hurts trust and affection. The calm way to deal with this issue would be to carefully consider not only what is said, but also the way it is said. Stoicism teaches us to keep our emotions in check and pick our words carefully, making sure they are in line with our values of fairness and kindness. This means that we should actively try to add positivity and support to our conversations, and when disagreements happen, we should talk about them with the goal of resolving them and building understanding, not to win the fight or put the other person down. Dealing with and changing destructive communication takes conscious effort. To improve communication skills, you may need to set clear goals for how to talk and reply in conversations, practice active listening, or even get help from outside sources like counseling. Self-reflection, a Stoic practice, is very important here. It means regularly evaluating our own speech patterns and asking ourselves if they are in line with our moral and philosophical goals, if our attempts to change them don't work. Stoicism also knows how important it is to look out for one's own health. If someone is constantly communicating negatively and hurtful, Stoicism suggests taking a step back to protect one's peace and honesty. This Stoic-based choice is not made without thought. It is seen as an important step toward living a good life, without constant conflict. Not caring about your own needs. Stoicism believes that it is important to respect your own needs and limits in order to keep your self-respect and keep relationships peaceful. Ignoring or downplaying these issues can cause big imbalances that make it easier for disrespect and unhappiness to grow. Stoic philosophy says that healthy relationships should be based on open communication and mutual respect. This is especially true when someone constantly ignores or downplays your needs. It makes it clear that their care is not a priority in the relationship, which can show up as multiple instances of crossing limits. Making choices on your own that affect both people or not recognizing and validating their feelings and preferences are actions that not only hurt trust and equality in a relationship, but also hurt people's sense of self-worth and independence. Important things that Stoics try to keep safe. To deal with these problems, you must first understand and affirm your own needs and boundaries. From a Stoic point of view, this is not about being selfish, but about self-care, making sure you don't put your moral and emotional health at risk to keep the peace. The next step is to clearly and assertively communicate these needs to your partner or friend. This conversation shouldn't be confrontational, but should be meant to teach the other person about your needs and why they are important for maintaining a healthy relationship. However, if the other person still doesn't care about them after these talks, you may need to rethink the dynamics of the relationship. Stoicism teaches that it's important to be around people who make your life better. If a relationship consistently doesn't meet this standard and causes more stress than peace, it might be best to pull away. This isn't an act of aggression or abandonment. It's a thoughtful choice to put your own health and morals first. Key ideas of a Stoic life include: Stoicism values relationships and encourages facing problems with courage and strength. It also stresses the importance of staying true to one's beliefs. A relationship that doesn't care about a person's needs should probably not work for a Stoic who wants to live a good life. Not being accountable to each other. In any relationship, being accountable to each other is not only helpful, it's necessary. Stoicism tells us that one of the most important virtues is taking responsibility for our actions. Mutual accountability builds trust and respect, which are important for any strong, long-lasting relationship. If accountability is missing, these important relationship pillars can fall apart, leading to a lot of misunderstandings and a loss of trust, which is the basis of all healthy interactions. In Stoic practice, everyone is encouraged to think about their actions and take responsibility for them. This includes admitting when their actions have hurt someone else and making amends where possible. If there is no accountability in a relationship, one or both people may feel like they are not being heard or respected. This imbalance is very unstable because, in a Stoic sense, relationships should be a source of support and growth for both people, helping each person better align with their virtues. If there isn't enough mutual accountability, both people involved need to be honest and open about what they expect from each other and agree on what accountability means for them. This could mean setting clear rules for behavior, talking about the consequences of actions, and regular check-ins to make sure both people feel supported and respected. However, if attempts to establish mutual accountability don't lead to positive changes, the relationship might need to be reevaluated. Stoicism doesn't say that we should stay in bad relationships forever. Instead, it says that we should look for and keep relationships that help us grow as people. Creating a space where everyone is responsible for their actions isn't just about keeping the peace. It's also about building a relationship that values the Stoic ideals of justice, knowledge, and courage. Should you be in a relationship that consistently lacks these traits, it might not be in line with the Stoic path to a happy and good life. As we come to the end of this chapter of our journey together, remember that the Stoics' wisdom isn't just an old book. It's a living, breathing guide for navigating the complexities of modern life. Thank you for joining us today. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. See you soon.